Hi everyone, thanks for downloading the latest episode of the Brunton Bugle podcast. We really do appreciate your continued listenership. Now, just a little disclaimer before today's episode. We recorded this before the club announced that the Forest Green Rovers game will be taking place on Tuesday the 2nd of February with a 6 o'clock kickoff. So we were speculating that there wouldn't be a game taking place on that day, and now we look a little bit daft. No changes there. What we will do, obviously, though, is the end of this week, we'll be doing a preview episode where we'll be previewing not only the weekend game against Exeter, but also the Forest Green game next week. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
And we're looking good, you'll be in for a fight, and we fight pretty good. Getting goals is our job, and we get goals good. Looking good, we are Carlisle United.
Carlisle United, the team that's on the ball. Carlisle United, the team for one and all. You're looking good, and we're with you all the way. You'll hear us singing every time you play.
The boys are back in town. Hello everyone, welcome back. It's the Brunton Bugle once again, back with your Carlisle United news, views and opinions, whatever you want to call it. From Charlie White to Andy Watson and James Barrett to Paul Baker, we've got it covered. This is episode 33 and today we're finally going to get to talk about some actual football that's going to take place. Yes, we are going to be previewing the trip down to South Wales to face Newport County, as well as the usual news, views, and I think you've got a little quiz for us as well, Dan, haven't you? So that should be interesting.
Yeah, turning the tables. Found a good little quiz question for you today. So.
Excellent. I do like a good quiz. That's a fair way to say. Yeah. So yeah, in case you hadn't guessed, Dan is my co-host today, as usual.
Yeah,
Dan,
and not Mike, as your running order says.
Does it?
Just sent me.
Do you know what? I just take the one from the previous episode and change it.
Yeah,
I think I took this one from a few games ago. So there you go. Yeah, so just exciting, isn't it, to actually look forward to some football to watch, isn't it? It's been boring as hell over the last few weeks for me. Don't know about you.
Yeah, it's, I mean, we've sort of had a mid-season break, unofficially, haven't we? But on the flip side, I think today's the first time the full squad have been able to train together.
That's
so
true.
There will be rustiness, and I understand they may possibly be travelling tomorrow, which is a hell of a long day, but never mind. Newport aren't in the best of health, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how it goes. Okay, well, let's get straight into the news bit. It's going to be a slightly shorter episode, this one, because we haven't got a game to review, and we're literally just doing this so we can preview the Newport game and then get into sort of a rhythm of doing these episodes. I think every Thursday we're going to look at doing them.
Yeah, we said we're probably going to record on a Thursday so we can get them out Friday morning with the aim of covering Saturday and if there's a Tuesday match in one, so...
Well, there's a fair few Tuesday games coming up and another one that's being rearranged, so we'll cover that in a sec. But first, let's get into the news. So the first bit of news came on Saturday afternoon after all the League Two fixtures had finished. Bit of a positive. So there was a few hints about this, wasn't there, Dan, in the build-up to it happening, but it's just been confirmed that Ethan Walker will be returning to the club to complete a season-long loan spell from Championship side Preston North End. Obviously, the 18-year-old winger impressed in his initial 5 games, wasn't it? That's all he played, I think, of his season-long loan deal from North End until a shoulder injury picked up in a Papa John's trophy tie at Sunderland ruled him out until January. He was officially recalled by the Lady Whites earlier this month and he was actually an unused substitute in their FA Cup defeat at Wickham. But I think they made quite a few signings, haven't they, this month, Preston, and he sort of dropped back down the pecking order a bit, and they've said to him he can go back out on loan. And he said the only place he wanted to come to was Brunton Park. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? In previous years, we've always talked about the fact that we look weaker in January after transfer windows, but we look even stronger this time, don't we?
Yeah, we've got some incredible competition up front now because, you know, solely talking about wide players, at the moment we start with Coyote and Patrick. We've got Dickinson, who's almost like a new signing, as we keep saying. We've got Walker returning, and Jimmy Toure's still here. You know, so that's 5 straight away. Yeah. And you know, we've got Alessandra, Zanzala, and is it Kedwin?
Kedwin. I think we understand it's Kedwin now because that's what Andy Hall used in the official interview of him. So we're going with Kedwin. Yeah.
So we're very well stocked up front, but on the flip side, with this many games in such a short space of time,
there's got to be
we are going to get knocks. I'd be very surprised if we don't. So,
well, Coyote was a doubt, wasn't he, for the last game? So I wonder
and I actually wondered if he's maybe struggling for tomorrow.
Might be one of those ones.
But,
isn't it?
no, it's better to have than not. So
yeah. Well, it's good news, and I think there was a hint as well that a player might be on his way out. And I mean, I think a few people have jumped to conclusions there and presume it's Toure. I think they've probably got the wrong end of the stick there. I think you're probably looking at someone who's already out at the club at the moment. In Max Hunt, I'd imagine that one deal might be extended.
It's gone very quiet, that, because his loan actually ran out through last week, and Yeovil didn't actually play at the weekend, so there was no need to announce anything. And I think they're playing on Wednesday this week, so I would be very surprised if we don't hear either he's staying there, whether it be on loan or permanent, or he's returning. Given that to play their next game, he'd have to be extended in some way.
Yeah, you'd imagine he might be one of those ones we extend till the end of the season, possibly.
Yeah, but it would make sense, especially with Feeney coming in, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm not convinced about this. I think some people seem to think Toure's really unhappy and definitely wants to leave. He doesn't really give that impression on social media, does he, really? So,
no, not really, no.
Yeah, interesting one. Only other bit of news is the fact that another fixture's been rearranged, obviously following on from the Harrogate and Orient games being announced. I think we did that on the last episode, didn't we? Our trip to Mansfield Town, the first game that fell foul of the COVID outbreak, will now take place on Tuesday the 16th of March with a 7pm kickoff. So they've still not put a game on that 2nd of February game, have we?
I would be very surprised now if we did have a game on the 2nd.
Which one's left?
Forest
Green, is it?
Forest Green at home's the only one.
Yeah.
I wonder if, given the fact that we haven't trained that much, Chris Beach has asked us not to use it up, if possible.
Possibly.
Because, we've got a long trip on the road to Newport, and then we've got Exeter at home. After a couple of weeks of, not inactivity, but, not the level they need to be at, it's maybe a sensible decision not to be playing on Tuesday next week.
Only other thing I would say as well, maybe when you look at it, is we're playing Newport tonight. Newport's pitch has got a particularly bad reputation for falling foul of the weather. Yeah, you never hear about it, do you? No. I wonder
if
we're maybe
kept it
looking,
in case,
if
tonight as you're listening, most of you, that would make
quick
sense as
rearrangement
well.
Potentially, maybe. I don't know if Newport are playing next week, but
and
there you go.
If it was caught, I wonder if that's why we're maybe travelling on the day as well.
Possibly,
to save us splashing out on the hotel.
Exactly that, maybe.
And then we would get a full week of training, so it wouldn't be too bad, would it?
No, certainly not. So I think that's pretty much news covered. So just a couple other little bits before we get into the actual match preview stuff. First up, it's a reminder of our bobble hat competition. So if you listen to the last episode, you'll have heard that we are currently running a competition to give you the chance to win a Cal United 1994-95 Walling bobble hat, courtesy of our friends at footballbubbles.com. This hat follows up on the reversible bucket hat, which they released last September, and it's named after legendary United defender Dean Walling. We've got one of these hats to give away, as well as 4 run-up prizes, which are these Cal United 94-95 25th anniversary pin badges, which were put together, weren't they, by the Cal United Supporters Group, and it's got a few more of those to get sold. So if you don't win one, you can always buy one at the club shop if you want to as well. I've had my hat on. I don't know if you've worn yours yet, Dan. It's a lovely warm hat.
I wore it this morning. This morning when I nipped out. Yeah.
Lovely warm hat it is.
Yeah, good hat.
But yeah, anyway, so here's a reminder. You just got to answer this question basically to have a chance of winning. It's a very easy one. You can go Google the answer if you really want to.
You can look at the other answers if you really want.
If you really want to.
I don't think we've had a wrong one yet, have we?
No, I'm still waiting for someone to be stupid enough to do that, but there you go. So the question is, in October 1997, after 296 appearances and 29 goals for the club, Dean Walling was sold by United owner Michael Knighton, much to the anger of the Blue Army faithful. But to which club did Knighton sell Dino? So we just want to know which club Dean Walling left Cal United to go to. Simple as that.
Here's a clue. They're playing red and white and they're in the east of the country.
Ooh,
and it's not Sunderland.
No, Ooh, come on. Don't make it too easy for them. Right? There you go. Funny thing is, someone replied to us on Twitter and they tagged in Michael Knight.
I
thought, come on. We're trying to get an interview sorted with that man at some point if we can.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen, that is it? I don't think anytime soon. So to enter, just post your answers either on the Facebook post for this episode on the Be Just and Fair Not Facebook group. And don't think of putting it again if you've already done it on another post about the last episode, because you're not going to get 2 entries. It doesn't work like that. You can also reply to us on Twitter or send us an email to bruntonbugle@gmail.com. We've had a couple of emails in actually as well with their answers. So yeah, that's the competition. Okay, next up, Dan, the floor's yours. It's your quiz that you've got for me.
Right. I was just bored the other night, as many of us are in these times, and I was looking through a list of Premier League players who were deemed to be from a foreign country. And then I thought, I wonder how many have played for Carlisle. So my question is, there are 10 players who have made a Premier League appearance who have also played for Carlisle United who are deemed foreign. By foreign, I'm not including Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland or Republic of Ireland.
Okay.
So Republic of Ireland, UK, don't count. I have 10 players on my list that are deemed to be foreign who have played at least one game, and it has to be Premier League. So FA Cup, League Cup, etc. don't count.
Yeah. All right. I'll start off with, I think this is an easy one. I think this one's right. Lubomir Michlik.
Correct.
Yes, for Bolton, wasn't it? I think he played in the Premier League. It would have been, because he wouldn't play for Leeds in the Premier League.
I didn't mark down every because some of them have played for a couple of teams, etc. But yes, he's on the list.
You've got to think of players who've played. Tim Krul. There you go.
Tim Krul, yeah.
Yeah. Right. This is tough. It's really tough. Not as easy as you think, Bess, is it? When you,
no. There's a couple of pearlers on this list.
I don't think Chanri Ekamanga ever played.
No.
For Man United
he didn't.
in the Premier League, so he's not
you're right
one.
there.
I'm trying to think of Premier League clubs and players we've had on loan from them.
It's a proper mixture as well through the years. From when the Premier League started in '92 as well.
When it started, my word. Yeah. Johan Smith.
No.
Oh, he hasn't.
No.
I'm wrong. I know he's played for Bolton a couple of games. It must have been FA Cup games.
Yeah, there was no Americans on the list. So the likes of Simek, I think he only played League Cup for Arsenal.
He did, yeah. You're right.
Leeds weren't high enough for Mike Grella at the time.
No, right, okay. So there's none of them, right? Okay.
We can come back to this later in the show, because we don't want people just listening to you going.
Dead air, as Alan Partridge once said, dead air is a crime. So there you go. All right, well, we'll come back to that one then. You might have to give me a couple of clues.
You've got 2 of the 10 so far.
2 of the 10 so far. Okay.
And by doing it by this, it gives others who are listening a chance to have a think before we get to the answers.
All right, then. Well, let's get straight into the preview stuff then, Dan. So we're looking ahead to United making the long trip down to South Wales to take on fellow promotion chasers Newport County. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff again, isn't it? So getting used to these earlier kickoffs.
Yeah, I think they'll all be 7 o'clock now. Won't
except
they?
the 6:30 one, of course, for the Orient game. That'll be a bit different. Yeah. So the referee is going to be Brett Huxtable. I mean, Brett Huxtable sounds like a character from a Dickens novel, doesn't he? I think.
It sounds like some sort of Southwest American hick.
Yeah, actually, it's good. You're probably about right there, yeah. So he last refereed a United match for the 4-1 win at Forest Green in January 2020, which of course was that game where Nathan Thomas scored that hat-trick, didn't he?
Yes.
First career hat-trick. Hell of a goal, one of the goals there. History and facts. I mean, we did last time. We did a load of these, so we're going to try not to sort of repeat all of them. So
we're just going to try and pick a random fact about the town for each team. Now,
one or two random facts. So, do you want to go with this first one, then? You found?
Yeah, this one I found. Did you know that the man who creates the Great British Bake Off illustrations, so that's when the bakers are baking their cake, apparently, because I don't really watch this show, apparently they have some sort of illustration to show what they want it to be like?
Yes.
Well, seemingly, you sound like a watcher there.
Big fan, big fan.
Apparently, he comes from Newport. Tom Hovey, and he's produced the illustrated graphics of Bake Off since its inception in 2010, and he has credits for productions aired on BBC, Channel 4, and Over the Pond on CBS and ABC.
Ah.
And when I found this out, I obviously looked up some of his illustrations, and they're very good.
Yeah, indeed. A couple of more interesting facts I found out. Apparently, one of the village people lived in Newport in the 2000s to early 2010s. What else was there? Do you know the Stone Roses single "Love Spreads"?
Yes,
the cherub thing, like the shield
the cherub
thing.
off the cover. Yeah,
that's apparently that can be seen all over Newport.
I saw that one myself. Yes.
Yeah, Harry Houdini once did a trick off a bridge into the river in Newport as well.
Yeah, and he had a double
he did.
to occupy the place so he could do it seemingly.
Yeah, very clever indeed. I think other than that, there's not much else to Newport. I feel bad, really. We should probably, know these things a bit more, but there you go. Yes, I mean, let's get straight into the actual football side of things. So, head-to-head wise, we're just ahead now, thanks to the last time out we played. So, we've won 7. There's been 10 draws, and Newport have won 6 games. Last time we played, go back to last November. This was the game, I think, really, for me, when I look back at it now, this is the game where you suddenly sort of sat up and thought, ooh, actually, you know what? We really are promotion contenders here, aren't we? Because
despite trying our best to flog it in the last 10 minutes.
Typical Cal United, we tried our best here, and obviously Jamie Devitt got his customary goal he was always going to get against us, but as he will do in April, I'm fairly sure of that. Yeah, we just tore them apart in this game, didn't we? We were 3-0 up after 81 minutes, and then they got 2 goals in the last 5 or so minutes, didn't they, to bring it back to 3-2, but we just look such a good side against them. I mean, John Mellish's goals as well, when you look back at them now. Oof. I mean, the first one's the one where he just levers it in the top corner, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But actually, the second one, the pass through to him from... Was it Alessandro or was it maybe Patrick? I can't remember. Someone played the ball through to him and it was like through the eye of a needle. And he took a touch and then it's almost like sliced the ball past the keeper. It's a great finish.
Yeah. It was a good performance.
Indeed it was, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Newport are probably exceeding many of our expectations to have had a good start to the season, didn't they? They were, I think we felt they were probably going to be a mid-table side, didn't we? Before they probably hadn't quite strengthened enough when the campaign started. But fair play, and they were absolutely flying at the start, weren't they? Got themselves right up and put themselves in promotion contention again. But problem is, a lot of the transfer business they did last summer again was loans, wasn't it? And as it is, most of them went back in January, didn't we? We looked at this on the last episode. They just don't. It's a difficult one, isn't it, for Mike Flynn, because he's done such a great job over the last few years there. To then see the squad decimated in January and have to start again effectively when you're right up at the top as well. Can't be easy, that.
To be fair, though, they're on a bad run at the moment, and the last win was, I think it was the 8th of December when they won at Grimsby.
Yeah, it was.
So yes, they've lost these players and they've replaced some, but the bad form started before these players went back. I think in the last 7 league games, they've drawn 4 and lost 3. So
yeah, they've been in pretty dreadful form for quite a while now, actually. It's one of those ones, though, because they were flying so much at the start of the season, bar that defeat against us, that you almost forget, don't you, that they were well clear, and now suddenly they've been dragged back into it, but they're still up there at the moment. So, that although they're in that bad form, they've still got a chance to potentially keep themselves up. As you mentioned there, Dan, they're great. The recent forms look great. So they currently find themselves in 3rd place in the division on 40 points with a record of played 23, won 11, drawn 7, lost 5, goals for 34, goals against 25, and a goal difference of +9. Only Exeter, though, have lost fewer games than Newport. Exeter have lost 3 games, but they've drawn a lot. And Newport have lost 5. I think there's one other team on 5. I think we've lost 6, haven't we? So, yeah, it's an interesting one. As you mentioned there, the recent form, it's just dropped off a cliff edge. I think there's something like, if you look at the form table for the last 6 games, they're 20th.
I was going to say they must be in the bottom 6. Must be.
They're 20th, yeah. I mean, Grimsby are the worst. In fact, Bolton are below them, though. Still, incredible job that Ian Everett's doing there. See, he had a go at their fans again this week, didn't he? He was saying how he basically saying that they're living in the past, basically, and they need to be getting to the future. It's like, well, living in the past because the future's currently
I think the fact there's no fans is probably helping Everett, because I could imagine it'd be quite toxic there if the fans were in.
Absolutely. So last time out, they suffered a 3-2 defeat at Oldham Athletic, having taken an early lead, but then they saw midfielder Josh Labadie sent off after just 14 minutes. I've seen a few people saying, it's a bit of a shock, that one. Labadie's always been a bit of a liability, hasn't he? He's a bit of a head case in the past, I think, for some of his behaviour. Yeah,
they'll obviously miss him, though, because he's one of those names that you often see pop up with a goal on, you know, when you're watching the scores and that, and he's
an enforcer for them, isn't he?
He's integral to how they play, isn't he? So.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we mentioned there before, their manager is Michael Flynn. We've said plenty of times, haven't we? He's done a remarkable job at Rodney Parade in terms of working on a very small budget to put together decent teams season after season. But he just seems to be struggling to get them to keep it up for the whole 46 games, isn't he? And obviously not helped by the fact that, they rely heavily on loan signings. And as we saw with United a few years ago, there's always a risk that many of them are going to get recalled, and you're going to, the ones you're going to bring in to replace them are not necessarily going to be as good, are they?
Yeah, some of them will take 2 or 3 weeks to get up to, they're usually young lads who've probably been playing under 23 football, and it does take them a couple of weeks to manage the step up. Like I said,
we saw it with us, didn't we? And a few years ago, we lost the likes of Sowerby and
Yates.
What's his name? Yates and Addison and people like that. And the only one who came in who was any good was Callum O'Hare, probably.
Yeah.
The rest of them were just not good enough. So, I mean, despite the fact that they lost many loan signings, there's still plenty of quality in the squad, though, isn't there? I mean, they've one of the recent signings is Luke Gambin, who's a Malta international. So that was an interesting one. I've picked out some of their key men. I mean, let's start with the goalkeeper, Tom King, a man who could probably challenge Paul Farman in a kicking contest, couldn't he? Based on his recent behaviour.
If you haven't seen it, it's worth looking up on Twitter and YouTube. He apparently has the Guinness World Record for the longest scoring goal now.
I bet Paul Farman's absolutely gutted that we've not been able to play the last few weeks, because with some of the wind that's been going up, he probably would have had a chance of scoring in one of those games. So picked him out as one of the key ones. I think one thing I found when I was looking at their squad, it looks quite weak in defence at the moment, actually. I think in midfield and attack, you see, well, there's plenty of good players there. But you look at the defence, not many of those players stand out to me. I mean,
Dimitri is the obvious one.
Dimitri is the one I picked out, yeah.
I noticed as well that you've got Josh Sheehan down for midfield. He's actually missing tomorrow.
Is he?
He's on last of his 3-match ban for getting sent off in their game at, I'm just pulling it up here, when they drew at home to Salford. He got sent off around the hour mark.
Of course he did. Is Labadie suspended for the game as well?
He should be, yeah.
It's one of the ones that used to be back in the day. You had to wait 7 days, didn't you?
No, I'm pretty sure
kicks in. But I think it's straight away now, isn't it?
Yeah,
So I picked Josh Sheehan there. Like you said, he's a key man, but that shows he's a key man. He's missing, and that gives us another chance, doesn't it? But you look at defence, and there's not a lot there.
I was looking at the head-to-head and just focusing on since Newport sort of came back into the league. And I think we've had 6 trips to Rodney Parade, and we've got 1 point out those 6 trips. When you look at their suspensions and the turnaround in the squad, the turnover, this is our best chance of nabbing something at this ground for a long while for me.
Absolutely. I mean, I said there's quality. I mean, Matt Dolan's a good player as well. I think he looked decent in the game against us at Brunton Park. Actually, one of their better players in that match. In attack, they've got quality there, but they're not really firing in the same way they have to. I mean, Padraig Armand, straight away, you look at him, you think he's a quality player, but he's not really gotten the goals in the same way as in previous years, has he? He's struggling a little bit.
You haven't noticed him this season as much, have you?
No, definitely. I mean, I think it's ever since he got that call up for the full Ireland squad, didn't he? And he's just since then he's done pretty much nothing really. Ryan Taylor's always been a good target man centre forward, though, hasn't he? Certainly got the experience at 32, and obviously you've got Mr. Ellison at the age of 97 or something like that. Is it? I think now one of the oldest players in the Football League. He's still going strong. He's still getting a few goals from there, isn't he? He's chipping in with the odd goal here and there.
And he'll be good for the squad. He's one of those players that fans of all teams take to. I can imagine he's similar to the likes of Akinfenwa at Wickham. He'll be good for morale, etc. Won't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, they've had to replace a lot of the loan signings, and two of the players have come in up front. Actually, Owen Windsor, who was at Grimsby, I think, the first half of the season. He did fairly well against us, I think, in the game down there. And Jake Scrimshaw, I think, scored in that game at Oldham the other day. He's on loan from Bournemouth. So they are quite heavily reliant on loan signings. I know we've got a few in, but we're not overly reliant on them, aren't we? Other than maybe Coyote.
We've only got two at the moment.
Have we only got two?
Yeah, Coyote and Walker.
Of course, yeah, because Feeney's on permanent, isn't he? And
yeah.
all the rest. So yeah, it just goes to show that it's sometimes better not to rely on the loan signings in the way that we have in the past. Let's talk about team news, if we can. Lord only knows what the team's going to be for this game. I mean, we haven't got a clue whether some players are going to be fully out of isolation or whether some of us may have to wait for negative tests and things like that. It's so hard to judge.
What Chris Beach has said, I think we should have a full squad barring injuries.
Yeah.
So you're looking at Tanner and Devine are still out. Coyote possibly 50-50 if he's still got a bit.
Yeah.
But no, I would expect most of them to be available.
Yeah, so essentially...
And I know looking on socials, it's one of the ways we find out what players are up to, obviously. There was a couple of the players on Instagram and put, glad to be out of 10 days and that. So I would imagine we should have pretty much a full roster. That sounds American, doesn't it? I apologise.
What team would you pick for this then? If you've got the full squad available, what would you go with?
As strong as possible.
What would you say the strongest team is? I mean,
well, we're probably at the moment you're talking starting with Coyote, Patrick, and Alessandra up front. Midfield would be Guy, Mellish, and Riley. And I would say it'd be interesting to see what we do for full-back because Anderton's back.
Yeah, that's the question.
I think we will play Hayden and Bennett with maybe Armour at right back.
Yeah, I have a feeling that basically these few weeks have probably given Anderton a better chance of getting back in the team. So he's basically just a fresh start, effectively. Yeah. And you go with your strongest team, and Jack Armour might find himself a little bit unlucky and out of the team, possibly, but he might be McDonald's out. I think it's one of those two is basically in danger of dropping out, aren't they? So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens there.
But on the flip side, we're going to have a strong bench, especially in the attacking department.
Well, you think about it. I mean, you got 7 subs, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, one of them is going to be Magnus Norman.
Keeper.
Yeah. I mean, defensively, you've got to have someone on there. You'd think. I mean,
you could probably put Armour as a sub, knowing he can cover both flanks, and probably even play in the middle if he needed to.
Yeah. So do you put Feeney on there as well, or do you leave Feeney out?
I would probably put Feeney, Furman, and then 3 attackers. So, what would we probably see? This is where it gets complicated, doesn't it?
Well, fingers as well. You've got to have Charters will have to be on there because we need to have a youth product on there.
Yeah.
So there's one sub definitely taken up straight away, unless you put Bell on there. But I'd imagine Bell will be back with the youth team now for a bit.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Decisions.
Yeah.
But then again, as we say, Coyote had been struggling a little bit, so who's to say he might not even trouble?
Yeah. I mean, you imagine that Torre is going to come back in probably. Torre and Dickinson will probably be on there, and then it's whether you put Scott or Zanzala. I'd imagine Scott might be given a bit of time to bed in a little bit.
Yeah,
first
possibly.
Before you go any further with that, but there you go. I haven't got anything for Newport's team news, unfortunately, other than the bits we mentioned there. 2 players out suspended, 2 key players out suspended though, which is real positive for us, I suppose, when you look at it. So let's get on to the predictions then, Dan. What do you reckon?
Well, as much as I'd love us to go down there and smash them, I'm going to play safe with a 1-1 draw on the basis of today was the first time they've all trained together again. And let's be honest, you would take a point here because it stops them gaining anymore.
Yeah.
So I will go for 1-1 and Alessandra to score.
Oh, there you go. I'm gonna be more confident. I'm gonna go for 2-0. I think we're gonna go down there and get a result. I don't think we've got anything to fear. with them. I think they've dropped off too much, and we can make them start worrying about whether they're going to be in contention for a promotion place anymore. I'm going to go 2-0. I think goals from John Mellish on his return. He owes us one now. You know what? I just realised that we forgot to mention Ethan Walker. It's one of the options on the bench, haven't we? So it's crazy, isn't it? I'm going to go John Mellish, and Amari Patrick's going to keep his scoring streak up. There you go. That's what I'm going for that. Should we get into the Exiles first, and then we'll come back to the quiz question, Dan?
Yeah. Goals on Saturday for Ryan Loft, Ryan Bowman, Hallam Hope, another for Charlie Wyke. Gary Medine got another. Him and Yates are regulars on this part of the show. Naki Wells scored, and John O'Sullivan.
Wow. Do you know, as I realised the other day, we haven't actually covered much the fact that James Tavernier has been scoring.
I thought that myself, but we've literally been listing him every week because he scores nearly every week.
Yeah, he's been taking penalties and free kicks, isn't he? He never took them for us, though, isn't it? Weird that.
Yeah. But and also the other one that most people will have heard or seen was Jared Branthwaite's tackle, if we can call it that, in the Blackburn-Middlesbrough game. I think
attempted clearance, wasn't it? Rather than
what
tackle,
hasn't been mentioned with this is you forget how tall he is.
Yeah.
So when he puts his foot up to a smaller player, there was when you watch it, he probably should have had a red card because it is dangerous play.
Yeah.
But there was no malice or intent on his behalf.
I mean, Warnock's behaviour after the game was pathetic, really, wasn't it? That's very typical him, isn't it?
Young Jared seemed to be standing up for himself quite.
He wanted to go and confront him, didn't he?
Well, good for him.
I mean, from all accounts, he's doing brilliantly at Blackburn. I mean, they look like they're back in playoff contention.
They're a funny team, Blackburn, because just when they get in the contention, they then go and lose a couple and drop out again.
But you wonder if he's maybe the player who's making the difference now, because from what their fans are saying, they're very impressed with how he's done so far, aren't they? So fair play to the lad. Yeah. Do we have any other bits? Was there any transfer news last week or so? I can't remember if there was. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we got it all in the last episode.
Yeah. Nice quiet one, doesn't it, really, in terms of transfers?
Right, let's get back to this quiz question, Mr. Rooney.
Right, okay.
So you've got Lubo and Tim Krull. There are 8 more.
Yes. Players born abroad who've played in the Premier League and played for Carlisle. I mean, I'm guessing most of them are European, yeah?
Yes. Let me just... Sorry, I've got another window open now. Yeah, in the main, the European.
Dean Furman never played for Chelsea, did he?
No,
good. I don't think he would. Oh, man.
I have a feeling one may have been born here, though. I'm just Googling. Yeah, one of them was born here but played for a country, which should sort of give you an indication.
Kelvin Atuhu, is he one of them?
Kelvin Atuhu is one, yes.
But wasn't he? I thought he was born in England.
No, I think he was born in Nigeria.
Oh, okay. The Prince never played in the Premier League, did he?
No. I thought he may have sneaked on, but...
Prince Boabin, what a player. Yeah. Oh, God, you really challenged me at this one. Fair play. This is not easy.
And most of them are obvious when you look at the list.
Trying to think. Give me some dates and eras. That can be the easy way to do this. So we're going to have
two of them are very early Premier League days. So sort of early 90s. And two of them are born in this country but have played for teams to the west of this country, shall we say.
Did Hallam Hope ever play in the Premier League? He didn't, did he?
No.
No, I don't think he would.
But you're along the right sort of area for his country there.
Okay. Oh,
so there's two Londoners who have played for teams in, we'll call it the Caribbean.
Oh, Cleveland Taylor never played in the Premier League.
Nope.
This is very tough. This is a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be. Oh, yeah. Chris Birchall.
No, he didn't play
Premier League. Did he not?
No. He's another I thought would have featured on it.
Oh man, this is
right. The first one of the European ones from the early days. He's
Polish. Oh, Dariusz Kubicki.
Yes,
of course. God, how did I forget that one?
And then there's one from an island.
Oh, it's Jamaica?
There's not many... No, in Europe, sorry. There's not many European islands.
Malta.
Yes.
It's not Ian Stevens, is it?
No.
No, Ryan Baldacchino.
No.
Who have we had play for us who's Malta International? Who other than...
Oh, well, they're deemed as being from Malta.
Oh, is it Dylan Kerr?
It is, yes.
Dylan
well
Kerr.
done.
God, completely forgot about him.
So that's 1, 2, 3. You've got 5 so far. Two of them are obvious, and the other 3 are all sort of Caribbean type area.
Oh God. Alex McQueen never played a first team game, did he?
No.
Trying to think.
2 of them may like a baguette with some snails in it.
Oh, French players then. I mean, Stefan Lamanchon never played in the Premier League, neither did Stefan Bonavacci. Oh man, you genuinely
one scored a fantastic style of kick in an FA Cup game.
Vincent Perricard. Do you know what?
Yeah,
I was convinced Perricard had never played in the Premier League. I thought Stoke were in the Championship when he was there.
No, he's on the list.
Okay.
And there's another from France who he was a cockerel for a good while, probably best known as, and then he went to the northeast.
Oh, Pascal Chimbonda. Jeez.
Yeah, that's 7. So we've got 3 from Caribbean area, but 2 of them were born in London, so I think they're a bit of a cop out.
Jamal Campbell-Rice.
Correct.
Yeah, it just occurred to me then, that one.
Yeah.
Give me some positions. That's the end I'm going to get this.
Midfielder and a forward.
Midfield and a forward. Derek Asamoah.
No.
Never played in the Premier League now.
He's from Ghana.
Yeah.
It's not the Caribbean, is it?
No, sorry, they're both from Caribbean. Yes. So I've just thrown names out there. Caribbean. I mean, it's going to have to be. One of them must be. I mean, Jamal Campbell-Rice is Jamaican. Can't think of any other Jamaicans we've had play for
There's
us.
no more Jamaicans.
Oh, there's no Jamaica. Oh,
no.
Well, it makes it easier. That does.
One. Many people say Greg Abbott never gave a chance to.
Oh, Naki Wells.
Naki Wells, yeah.
Forgot he played.
And we've got one left, and he's actually in our division this season.
Wow, that's trying to think of players who are playing for opposition teams.
And I think we had him on loan from a London team.
Played on loan from a London team.
He's the pride of Montserrat, maybe.
Pride of Montserrat. This is annoying now because we've had at least one player play for...
And his first name's Brandon.
Brandon Comley.
Yes.
Yes.
He's a Montserrat international now, and he apparently made one game for QPR, coming on as a sub on the final day of the season type thing, you know, when the season's wrapped up.
Crying out loud.
And they are the 10. So just to repeat for anyone doing it at home, the 10 players who've played for Carlisle as well as a Premier League appearance from a foreign country are Naki Wells, Pascal Chimbonda, Vincent Perricard, Jamal Campbell-Rice, Dylan Kerr, Brandon Comley, Tim Krull, Kelvin Atuwu, Darius Kabicki and Lubo Michalak.
Oh, there you go.
And I didn't put Ireland in the list, but there's actually only about 7 or 8 who would qualify as well, so we'll maybe do that next time.
I mean, I can have a guess at those off the top of my head now. But
yeah, they're fairly eeasy, to be fair.
Yeah, I can probably guess those. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that was invigorating listening for people at home listening to me going, I don't know about that one. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe edit a couple of out.
Yeah, I might have to. It's going to be a lot shorter than you think that people listen to it back of it. But yeah, so I just can't wait till tomorrow night. Some football finally. That's going to be great.
Good to get it, won't it?
Going to be very enjoyable.
Be interesting to see what the iFollow figures are for this game.
I'd imagine they can be big. I'd have thought.
Yeah,
a lot of people just
want to see a game, don't they?
Yeah, exactly that. Dan, thanks once again for joining me. Really do appreciate it. In terms of the specials, we're going to be putting out the kids one next week because obviously we haven't got a midweek game, have we? next
week.
Week,
so I think we said we'd try and get it out on the Monday, didn't we?
Yeah, the idea is we're going to fit it in. We're almost sorted, aren't we, for the interview as well? We're not going to reveal who the interview is with.
No,
until after
it's a current player, and we'll only reveal once we launch it. But it'll
when
be
it goes
a good
out,
one. Be a good one.
Should be a good one, that one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. As usual, if you've got any comments or feedbacks, anything you'd like to suggest we discuss, please send them in via Twitter to @BruntonBugle or by email to bruntonbugle@gmail.com, or you can catch us on the Be Justin Fear Not Facebook group, because people are always asking us stuff on there as well. So if you haven't already, please remember you can subscribe via all good podcast apps, including Acast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, anything like that, basically. If you do so, please do give us a review, because it really does help. It pushes up the chart and more people see it, so we get more listeners, which is, can only be a good thing. Shall we have a look at the map, Dan? I don't think there's any new ones. I did look this morning. Some good listening figures there for last episode. Thank you to everyone who's been listening.
We worked out who Mexico could be, didn't we? We won't name them because it's not fair unless they get in touch with us. But
indeed,
we're 99% sure who it is in Mexico. So hello to you.
Yep.
And the Brazil one was confirmed to me. So
was it excellent?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff for them for listening. I don't think there's any new countries in there. I mean, we've had Spain before, haven't we? I think I have a feeling that's the person in Gibraltar who just pops over the border every now and then, because it's right. It literally is where they're at. It's right next to Gibraltar where they keep listening. So
La Línea de la Concepción, is it? I guess.
Yes. Having a quick look down, just all the usual places. Nowhere new, nowhere exciting. I'll have a quick look at the UK. Where have we got most of our listens come from?
Well, I would have thought Carlisle.
Carlisle, second place. Not London, it's Dumfries. So there must be a few around that way listening. London, Rochdale, Nottingham, Birmingham.
I know sometimes BT can class you as being Dumfries, even though when you're Carlisle.
Yeah, possibly.
So
that could be the
there'll
case.
be a little bit of,
Yeah, but there's quite a few places in the UK people listening. Thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. As we said there, we'll be back towards the end of the week, won't we, Dan, to do a preview for the... who's it this weekend? I've completely forgotten.
Exeter at home.
Exeter. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff, that one. Remember that as well. It's an earlier kickoff. So we'll preview that one and review the Newport game. Then what we'll do from next week on, we'll be doing preview episodes on the Thursdays to fit in the 2 games coming up the Saturday.
So we can get them out on the Friday morning for you.
Yeah. So we're just not going to be able to cram in an extra episode on the Mondays. What we'll try and do, we'll try and put the specials out on those days for people, so they've got something to listen to ahead of the midweek games. So, Dan, all I've got to say is thank you very much for joining me once again.
No problem.
And thanks everyone for listening, and up the Blues.
Up the Blues.